Joe, I'm not going to come in here and say I told you so because I still pick Tennessee to win. But last week, you and I discussed Arkansas versus Tennessee and that this game was going to be a slugfest, and boy, was it. Arkansas shocks the world. Woo Pig Suey pulls up the upset and beats, well, maybe not shocks Blake Ruffino because we had a conversation about it, but
yeah.
Woo Pig Suey and Sam Pittman get the job done and knock off number 4 Tennessee.
I do appreciate the hilariousness, the funniness of the argument that you and I sparked turned you into a martyr for Arkansas fans. They were all rushing to your side because I was saying that they didn't have a chance. And
I'm an Arkansas homer. If you didn't see the chat or the comments on our show, by the way,
totally. Taylor Green had his best game. Man, that was easily the biggest tipping point in this game. Is that he was the most efficient that he's ever been. He was the most cerebral as a runner. He was connecting with his guys in the passing game in tough situations. When we're talking about him being better than he was before, we're talking about him being better from 40% all the way up to, I think he was in the high 60s or 70s for his completion percentage. Ridiculously good game. And if he didn't go down with the injury that he had late on in the fourth quarter-ish, they might have won this more handedly. Like, they might have had an easier time winning this football game. Got to give him credit. Got to give Petrino credit. They played a fantastic game. We're going to talk about Pitman in that situation in a bit. Dude, the play calling by Heupel in this game and the clock management was horrendous. That's my biggest thing. I chalk that up to just bad late game decision making by Heupel that completely cooked them. And then the final thing, Blake, that was really problematic for Tennessee, the interior of their offensive line played terribly. They played very poorly. There were a number, and especially early on, it completely took any early momentum out of Tennessee's offense. There were so many quick, immediate pressures up the middle on Nico where he could not read what was happening in front of him. They played very poorly. That was a brutal performance by that offensive line.
I want to start off by agreeing with you and saying that Taylor Green, let's just call Taylor Green outplayed Nico.
Yes.
Without question. And he sat in the pocket. He made some very clutch throws and man-on-man coverage. Most of them to Armstrong, the big freak on the outside, the 6'4" wide receiver. Joe, can I tell you why during this past week I was saying that this one's going to be a dogfight? Because I love the analogy that we talk about so much on this show. I don't like when a pit bull is in a corner with nothing to lose. Never have, never will. And I just talking to some people, and I told you this last week too, there were people that were on that staff that told me we're, quote unquote, unloading the clip. And I was just like, look, man, this can go one of two ways. Either they're going to fall flat on their face or they're going to win this football game. Okay. I thought that they would fall on their face. It just kind of felt like Tennessee might be too much. But as we also discussed, this was the best team that Tennessee had played all year. Joe, it wasn't NC State who's flawed. It's not Oklahoma that's flawed. It wasn't Kent State, who's ranked 133rd in 11 of the 12 major statistical categories. It was none of them. It was Arkansas on the road in the SEC versus this team. Joe, what did we talk about? When this team doesn't turn the football over, they are dynamic in so many different areas. We've had this same conversation about Auburn. That's neither here nor there, but they still turn the ball over. What did we see from Arkansas? Well, they didn't turn the ball over, and defense played great. Offense did enough. They ran the football effectively, and they leaned on Tennessee. Joe, they were the more tested team, and it benefited them because when they went down 14-3, Taylor Green leads them all the way down the field for a touchdown to get it within 4. Then they're able to steadily just put on pressure to Tennessee, who could not stop the running game in the second half to save their life, and they were able to prevail. Russell, 8 carries, 62 yards, a 252-pound running back going downhill.
By the way, not to cut you off, that dude running made me so happy. I'm such a dork for big running backs. I can't explain it. That dude was a tank.
Well, wait till we talk about Ole Miss. They have a defensive tackle that has 4 rushing touchdowns on the year. I mean, J.J. Pegues.
But this man that you're talking about for Arkansas is design running back. Get him more carries, please. Get him more carries.
Somebody said he's the Arkansas SEC version of Jerome Bettis.
Dude, he's built like him.
I mean, he's built like him.
Yeah.
But to my point, look, Tennessee thought, and Joe, the question that you and I had specifically about Tennessee coming into the season was their secondary. And Joe, once they found a quarterback with an outright pulse that could throw the football, what happened? Joe Armstrong had 9 catches, 132 yards. He didn't get in the end zone, but he had 3 crucial catches on third down. So did Satania. And by the way, there was a throw by Taylor Green in the end zone that Satania dropped that should have been a touchdown. Joe, that secondary did not have a good game. I know that statistics won't show it. I get all of that, but it was Taylor Green, Bobby Bertrino, and Sam Pittman, the design of being physical, staying in the game, that won them the game. Joe, they kept Tennessee to 0 points in the first half. At halftime, the score was 3-0. 3-0.
You've kind of already opened this conversation, Blake. Can we talk about Sam Pittman right now? To talk about like his current situation, because you've kind of you've led into it a little bit.
Ask the question: did it save his job?
Did this save his job? Do you think that this saved his job?
Not yet.
Okay.
I gotta be real with you. Here's a very hot take. And Tennessee fans, I started throwing this out to you last week. John, I'm not saying they're a fraud. Okay, I still think that their defense is a lot better than what anybody will give them. Joe, if they can't find a passing game and Nico can't hit the ball down the field, they're going to play tough for teams that can beat them. And so I look at them and say, not yet. If they're going into a bye week, and if they beat LSU, you're damn right his job's saved. It's over because he'll get into 6 wins, and he's going to get to more. But, yeah, I mean, if he goes in the bye week, which is going to buy up a lot of publicity, and he goes and beats LSU in that big rivalry game, which is their biggest rival, the way that they believe it, if he wins that one, his job's saved.
Well, okay, so I push back on them needing to beat LSU. I think, and look, Sam Pittman's season has been incredibly seesawish. Like, the Oklahoma State loss was where we had declared him done. Like, we thought that he was cooked. That's an embarrassing way to lose when you're up as big as you were, an opponent that you're more skilled than. And that loss looks worse and worse every single week because Oklahoma State has been a burning mess. Like, they have gotten progressively worse every single week. They can't figure out anything offensively. They're a mess. They got whooped by West Virginia yesterday. I think that if they finish the season and they're able to pull out wins against Mississippi State, they play Louisiana Tech, which should be a win, and if they knock off Missouri, I'm going to make the argument that I think that he saves his job. I don't think it's a guaranteed yes, but I think that he has created himself enough of a buffer that, one, he'll get to finish the season. That's the most important part about this. He is not like Billy Napier, who could get fired at any point this year if they get their administration crap figured out, which probably won't happen anytime soon. But I think that Pittman has the benefit of the doubt to get to the end of the year because he pulled this off. Because I think that the administration has the opportunity to find out if he could do this again. And the argument from Pittman and his agent is going to be, look, just give us some more time. Look what we're doing. We've got all these new guys in here. Bobby Petrino's working out really good as the offensive coordinator. The offense is finally hitting its stride. We just started a little bit slow. BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.
I mean, Sam probably didn't. I mean, he needs good coordinators around. And if you don't, I mean, look, defensively, Joe, let's call it what it is. Coach T. Will and all of them, I mean, look, man, they're outperforming what they have talent-wise. I mean, their D-line is good, but they're outperforming. He needs good coordinators. He needs assistance. He needs money. He needs to go out there and get more players. But, Joe, I can't say that yet because, look, he's got LSU, Ole Miss, Texas. I mean, that's potentially 3 losses there. They're at 4 wins. They would have to beat Mississippi State, Missouri, and Louisiana Tech. I don't know. I mean,
it's a tough conversation because like 7-5 doesn't look great. I mean, that's not.
Well,
it's not a great record.
If he goes 7-5, they're keeping him.
Yeah, I'd believe that. I would
Jalen Green will come back. You have so many guys that can come back next year. Yeah, they'd keep him. Yeah, they're going to keep him with Bobby Petrino and company. But look, no, they're going into a bye week. They're going to get healthy. If they beat LSU, Joe, by the way, they're 5-2. I mean, I spare me. I don't think that this is going to happen, but they're going to be 5-2, potentially playing at Mississippi State, 6-2. They'll go into an Ole Miss game at home, potentially. If they, I mean, Joe, you're going to throw them in a contender type of situation. You will.
Okay, but I just
if they can be. Hold on. Think about this.
A lot would have to go right for this situation to happen. This is very, very optimistic.
Joe, they just beat the number 4 team in the country. You mean to tell me that they can't beat LSU at home? LSU always struggles at Arkansas. Always.